All right, as we wind down to the close of the year, of course, it means that the holiday season is just around the corner. So, of course, people beginning to travel and there's heightened activity everywhere. Of course, heightened security everywhere also too, because at this time we do hear of security alerts and security reports over and over again. Frank Oyorhigho is here with us, security analyst. It's a pleasure to have you join us this fine morning to tell us exactly what we're doing well or what we're not doing well, what we should be doing most likely during this period. Thank you, sir, for coming on the show.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, viewers at home. There's a saying that when things are going on well, that is the time to be more careful. So now you look as if nothing is happening. There's recession, there's no money, and so you will feel people are not, maybe people don't have money. But this is the time to be most conscious, because people will want to feel their need. It is a time of show off. It's a time of bringing all what you have tried to save. Now, my brothers in the East, this is the time they go home, having worked from January, to go back home and say, at least all my effort, even though there's recession, I was able to buy this car, I was able to save this much. Even yesterday I was at the airport. My friend that came from the US, his luggage did not come. Now they were telling us that the traveling population is so much and the luggages are so much that they just prefer to carry the human beings and leave the luggages, and the luggage will come in bits and pieces. So because people are relocating or people are traveling to come and unwind and spend whatever they have. So this is the time to be conscious of your environment. This is the time to be conscious of your visitors. This is the time to be conscious of the people you are relating with, especially in the thick of the time of the celebration. So it's not a time to lose your guard, because if you are not careful, the whole thing that you thought you have gathered, you can lose it in one day.
All right, let's break down this consciousness and try to point out the roles of the individuals who should, take charge of the conscious word that you use, and in terms of breaking down to what the specific roles should be, from the individuals to the security agencies and agents. Just walk us through what you mean by consciousness and breakdown.
Now, number one, for the individuals, you'll be receiving visitors. People that you probably have not known, you have not seen for the past 1 year, minimum, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be receiving them. And now the problem is not even with the visitor that you receive, but the people around you. Now, for instance, a simple security tip. If you have a visitor who just came from abroad, rather than carry his luggages outside before you enter your house, drive the car into your compound and close the gate before you bring your luggages out of the bag. Because if you bring your luggages out of the bag, out of the boot rather, 1 bag, 2 bags, 3 bags, 4 bags, people around say, this guy is like they have somebody from abroad. And if you're unfortunate to have such boys around, they will want to come and visit. So that is one tip. So then for the security agencies, this is the time to be most conscious of the people that come around the area where you have your duty. For instance, at the airport, yesterday, the numbers of the people who are checking the luggages were more. So that means because of the influx, the high number of influx of people made them to increase the number of security personnel. So that's the way it is. So even if you have a megad in your house now, this is the time to either change him or give him some orientation that, look, around your neighbors, yourself, the streets, just be conscious of the people that you have not seen before, that you see around. Don't take it for granted that, he's coming to visit my neighbor, So that's what we mean by being conscious by the individual and by the security outfit.
Now, this is a season to be married, so a lot of people will be, partying, going out, and all of that. Now, in as much as it will be safer to be in your house, but tell us how these people can manage, going out, coming back late and all of that, manage it with the current security situation in the country and still be safe.
Yeah, it's not even advisable to come back late. It's not. Now, if you have a late night show, if you have a place to sleep over.
In the hall?
No, that's what I say, if you have a place to sleep over. For me, for instance, I have a club I belong to. We did end of year party. I live in Okoba, and the end of year party was in First Stack. I had to book a hotel. That time traffic may be light, but you don't know who will be on the road to stop you. So I just booked a hotel, myself and my family. We slept there. Even though the next day was a Sunday that I was supposed to be in church. We just packed all our things. They closed for the party, they closed for church the next day. And we dressed up in the hotel and went to church straight from there. So it's safer than to leave midnight. Your tire can burst, your car can have problem. People can be in camouflage, thinking that they are policemen, and they stop you, and psychologically you think you are safe, only to discover that you are not people who are guarding you. So I think the best way, enjoy yourself, but restrict your movement, especially at night. Yes.
They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but we have the benefit of knowing that over the last couple of years during this period, the incidences of carjackings has been on the rise. Major highways, you will get to hear incidences of people being robbed as they journey to work or back from work or wherever they were going on the highways. The police sometimes have put out mobile policemen to walk the streets and see if this is going on and all of that, but hasn't always been effective. You still do hear incidences of robbers attacking people. I think it was Oshodi last week. This went on for several minutes. What do you think is the way out of this?
Now, if we're talking, there are two scenarios now. One for this period. Now, for this period, I admonish employers to be flexible in the resumption time so that people can get to work while it is daylight. It's easier to manage when it's daylight than when it's dark. That's one. Then two, let them close early, because bad things happen in the dark, in quote. So for car hijack and all that, it will be more this time because people want to go home, then go travel with cars, and then the stoppage of import from this seaport and all that. Now cars are so expensive, so there's so many things that will create that apprehension. So the best thing is go out when it is daylight, come in when it is daylight. And if you have a flashy car, if it is not a red carpet show that you want to go and show the car, pick the smaller one. If it is just to move you from point A to point B, take the smaller one. And if it is maybe for an event that you need to arrive, then if you can have a car that is that expensive, then you can also procure a personal security guard, at least for this period. So if it's not compulsory that you must take that car, then take a smaller car. And then also be conscious of your environment. For instance, yesterday, like I said, I was coming from the airport. My friend that I went to pick up was fiddling with his phone at the window. I said, bros, can you just put this phone down? When we are on the express, you can bring the phone out, and so everybody wants to have a piece of the cake in one form or the other. So it's you that will be conscious, you that will be at alert. Even me that was driving, even if the car has AC, I was still looking at the mirror and looking at the side mirror, the inner mirror, just to be sure that nobody is coming or nobody is trying to do anything. So all that is just to ensure that you are safe. And if your car is that expensive, put some security in the car. But like I said, if it is not a must that you must use that car, use a smaller car.
All right, let's talk some more about, of course, we know the importance of personal safety and security, personal measures, but then how far would a personal effort go if you're confronted by people who are armed, and obviously you've tried all your measures that you know with the tips that you've shared, but it becomes just overwhelming. They're armed and they're in your face. What do you do? Now that brings us to what sort of mechanisms that we should be seeing at this time with the security operatives. What sort of, measures should we be expecting that people, whether in traffic, across board, is security such a difficult task? Because there are times when you are battling with, protecting the citizens in one area, and there appears to be a gap in another area.
And a rule of thumb, first, is that don't argue with a man with a gun. Whether it's toy gun, whether it's real gun, because at that time you don't even know what it was, what it is. So, and what agitates criminals is they don't have time. So anything that will stop them from doing what they want to do, they will take it out. So don't argue. Whatever they want you to do, the first and most important thing is the life. Any other thing can be gotten after that. So don't argue with a man with a gun. Whatever he says, just do and let him take whatever he wants to take and then move on. And then for the security guard, it's security personnel. It's not enough to do patrol. It's not enough to do patrol. Like in my area in the night, 12 o'clock, I hear the siren of the police sound. I say, this doesn't make any difference. If the man is robbing and he hears the siren, we'll wait until your siren passes and he comes out and continue what he's doing. So the security personnel, this is the time to make them live among the people like the people, not with uniform. In fact, there are flashpoints. If the police can identify flashpoints, they should put people in mufti to go and even rent houses in those areas. Discuss with the CDA executive, give them an apartment, and they live there like citizens.
But Nigeria is heavily underpoliced.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That flashpoint area, not everywhere. Of course, if they do their job well, they will know that there are certain areas in this state that you have more of such activities or much such incidents. So people could go there, rent houses, or go there more often. Go to the joints. Where they gather is the joints. Go to the joints, buy drink, buy pepper soup, eat and drink with them. They will talk. In the course of talking, you can pick one or two things that you can use to help the environment. So it's not, surveillance is good.
Intelligence now, you're talking about.
Exactly. Surveillance is good, but intelligence is better. And this intelligence, you can't get it without being like the people. If you want to catch a monkey, you behave like a monkey.
I'm sorry, Vicky, but what you just said, it just brings to mind the role of the neighborhood in ensuring that their facilities are safer. Because I know a situation where somewhere close to where I stay, the policeman, the police officer, closes from work and then goes to guard the clothes. That's what he does every night. He puts his mat out there, he sleeps there. When he wakes up in the morning, he gets into his uniform, and then he goes off. No one pays him. That's his contribution towards securing the neighborhood. So you have wonderful Nigerians in many places like this. But tell me some sort of model you can have in neighborhoods across the country where you can have these sort of things. Is it workable? Yeah.
Now that brings us back to the issue of background check. If we have clusters of neighborhoods. Now, if we divide the neighborhoods to a particular radius, and so between point A and point B, let all the landlords have background check of their tenants, and take this background check report and give to the police in charge of that area. And then the idea of picking all these malam, all these boys to serve as security guard is, for me, it doesn't make sense. They're not trained. They can't even read people psychologically. There's a way you ask somebody a question. The way he responds is, you will know that his response is different from what he wants to say. These are trained people. So if you have such one or two people who are part of the security outfit in that environment, they could have the dossiers of the people living in that environment. So when there's a visitor, they will know. So when they are interrogating the visitors, the response will either make them to say, where exactly are you going? And then call the person and say, do you know this person? You understand? So that will help. So, but it's going to take a deliberate effort. It's not by default. It's going to take a deliberate effort to ensure that all landlords, all house owners do a background check of all their tenants in the environment. That's why this neighborhood security outfit will work with the landlords being involved. It's not a government thing only. The landlords must work hand in hand with neighborhood security outfit so that every landlord or every neighborhood will know the number of people living in their neighborhood. So when there is a visitor, they will know. So that's the aspect. Like the policeman, fantastic idea. But they need to encourage such people, either by commending them publicly so that others can as well do it, or by even giving them something, you know, an average Nigerian think, an average Nigerian think in naira and kobo. So if there's 1 or 2 naira and kobo added to his, maybe not from a government, but from the community that is working, he will encourage them, and others will take suit, and before you know, it becomes a practice. And that as well will still reduce at least level of crime. May not clear totally, but reduce. And crime cannot be cleared totally. It can only be suffocated. You suffocate it, it won't be able to react. But then you lose your guard, it comes up. So that's why I said it's a deliberate effort at ensuring that these things are done.
The bad guys will always be the bad guys and always want to have an edge over the good people. I mean, it's the Ember season, it's the Christmas season, and we're looking to spend money. So they're going to go above and beyond to get to innocent Nigerians.
Exactly.
Now, how... You've talked about ways in which we can mitigate against this as Nigerians in our conduct, what we should be aware of in our environment and all of that. But does it go beyond that? Are there other measures that individuals should take care of? We have a situation where children are involved. Children are a soft target. What do we do with our kids when we go out? We know that kidnapping has been on the rise in Nigeria, and even now, it's like huge money for kidnappers. Demand so much, get the money, and God knows what they spend the money on. There are soft targets in every family. How do we begin to, block these holes?
I think lifestyle is number one. You must keep a low-profile lifestyle. There are people who have this money, but you don't know they have it.
But some Nigerians are not those kind of people.
Yes, that's how we said it's a deliberate effort. We read of a story of a woman whose daughter was kidnapped, and the process she was killed recently. Now, for me, if all this outing, if you must go, don't spend too much time and don't display your wealth there. Even if there's there's a way you show up.
Children insist they want to stay. What happened?
No, then the children can't insist. You are the commander. Sometimes it's not what they want, because they don't know anything. The children don't really know anything. You see far beyond what they see. All they see is the fun. It's just like a child that says he wants to start playing with fire because of the color. So you know that it will burn the finger. So you insist, and they will keep crying. Let the baby cry, because you know that fire is dangerous, but they don't know. So the same thing. If for instance, I take my son out from the window, Daddy, I want this. Daddy, I want. I say, don't worry, you buy the whole world. To them, just buy. So the same thing. They go to a party, they want to stay forever. But you understand the implication of staying forever. So you let them know, if the ones that can understand, like, look, this is dangerous for us to be here at this time or beyond this time. But the ones that can understand, you order them. There's some level of, what do you call it now? Dictatorship in managing children. So whether they like it or yes, inside, let's go. Over time, they will understand why you had to do that. So then, if you go to a party, they call your name a million times. If you want to give the celebrant money, put an envelope and give him, and then go. But when you come and start showing off, people are watching. There are people outside who have not eaten since morning, and then they see you doling, they'll say, please, the museum has taken its share inside. Let's go and take our share outside.
There are situations where you're at these parties and a friend gives you the money, help me go and spray. The friend is also spraying. What do? Politely reject spray?
You are saving your life. You can tell them, sorry, I can't do this. So if in the course of doing that, and something happens to you, doesn't happen to that friend,
all right,
what happens?
Tell us something about the fun spots. I mean, there are places that we get in a lot more visitors, that public places,
Yes.
parks, and where families would go, of course, and relax all through the season. When oftentimes you look at the personal security in terms of their private arrangement is not impressive, apart from the patrols that you talked about. What should they be doing extra this season?
Apart from their personal, they should also bring in authorized, like that's the government agent securities. Now, the reason for that is, if anything happens, you have the backings of the government to take care of it. So what they just need is the support from the private. But if anything happens, if it's just the private, they tell you, well, you're on your own. You took, and no matter what, the private security cannot have facilities as much as the government owned, even though they don't use them. They have that power. They have those facilities. So apart from the private arrangement, get the police outfit involved, especially if the police station is close to where you are doing the event. You go there and tell them, register formally. And look, we're having an event and we're expecting a guest of XYZ numbers. We have our private security, but we want you to be there. They may demand for something, but whatever they are going to demand for cannot be measured with the safety that you're going to get at the end of the day. So they could come, and the sight of their vehicle alone could also disrupt the plans of whoever is in the environment. So your private guard is around, the police comes in, goes inside the event, walk around, go back to their vehicle, drive around. Those activities alone is enough to create some fear. But when the intruder looks around and there's no inhibition that he thinks he can't manage, they'll come in. But once they see that, okay, so the federal government police is around, then they'll be more careful. And if they see that these people they look more serious, they will withdraw. That will help. That secondly, if it is possible, the event shouldn't go beyond 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, where you still have daylight, so that whatever is happening around you, you'll be able to see. No matter the floodlight you give in the night, there will still be some dark spots that people can do some things. So no matter how funny, or especially outdoor, if it's an indoor event, yes, fine. That means the outside could be guarded to prevent people from coming in. But once an outdoor event, it shouldn't go beyond 7 o'clock, where you still have daylight for people to take care of themselves and move on. Yeah.
There's a question I asked you earlier on where you talked about whether it was for now or afterwards, but I think it has to deal more with primary solutions and secondary solutions. Nigeria's got a burgeoning youth population, 70% of the country, youths.
Yeah.
Many of them unemployed. So, which brings me to social security, which is a real issue we're facing in this country. Tell me how much, because all we've talked about has had to deal with stopgap approaches and how we can resolve these problems with security, because a lot of them are things we will have to keep doing over and over again, whereas the primary solution, of course, will be how we can empower these youths who are unemployed to get jobs. How much can we believe and hope through stopgap measures like this we can suffocate crime?
You know, we have two angles to it, the government angle and the private sector angle. Now, security is not the function of the government alone. Now, if the government can create an avenue where we can engage these youths, there are so many ways to engage them, but we need some level of sincerity, of purpose. It's not just about making money. It's not just about politicizing it. We should remove politics and ask for ideas from the populace on how to engage these youth. And once you have a proposal, encourage the person who has the proposal by doing those things. And for the private sector, as much as you can, employ as much youth as you can. We know that your return on investment is important, but at the same time, there are some minimal level you can go in terms of qualification for those that you can employ. Once you have people who have reached that minimal level, take them. don't look for the superhuman being because you want your return on your investment as fast as you can or as quickly as possible. So because if you don't get these guys out of the street, they will come in by themselves and do what you don't expect them to do. So if it is sport, if it is music, thank God for reality shows and all that. But we have some set of people who cannot get involved in those reality shows. The illiterate ones, the ones who don't have talent. So the government could create a job. For instance, like this cleaning of the street. It may look mundane, but you can take some out of it. There are some of these guys who are not in crime because they want to. There are some people, no matter what you give them, they want to be in crime because of maybe they get an excitement from it. But there are still some sect of people who, out of compulsion, they have to do because they must survive. So such people, you give them anything to do, so long as there's a regular pay that comes at the end of the month, they will do it. So get those people. So once you get those people out of the number, you are reducing the number that you can manage. So whatever happens, whatever way, let the government not just create job, but create an avenue to engage them. If it is sport, if it is temporary measures that, okay, for this 6 months you engage them here, now this activity has ended, or has ended as it were, then you take them, you give them another one, so they keep moving from one activity to the other. So that will help them. For instance, sports, maybe you have the state game, from the state game you have the regional game. The same people who participate in the state game will be in the regional game. You have the national games, you have the one Africa like that. So you keep engaging them from one place to the other, one time or the other. That will at least help reduce the number. That the ones who don't have such talents, who probably bereft of ideas, just employ them. If it's to sweep, if it's to clean, there's so many things. Then the private sector must get involved and help the government. Sometimes we have problem with the private sector because they spend so much money and they want professionals. They want people with whiz kids who can come in and, give their brand some measure of visibility because of the creativity and all that. No, there are some areas where you can still involve those ones who don't have that super knowledge to do some things.
Localize it.
Yes, exactly. So with that, you reduce the numbers. And once you reduce the number, then you can manage the numbers that are compulsory criminals who just want to be criminals.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Oyorhigho, security analyst, of course, who's helped to diagnose the crime as well as help outline the architecture of our security and safety network ahead of the holidays and, of course, at Christmas. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. We'll be back with more interviews. To stay with us.
It's Today in STV.